Alright, so I'll be giving my rankings and then I'll be showing the major classes in the debate and how we felt certain things rank above others, and hopefully I feel with the analysis I've given you'll be able to understand why we ranked teams ahead of the others. So on the rankings, from fourth to first, we ranked CG fourth, OG third, CO second, OO first. Now, why we ranked, okay, we felt it was a bench win. Why we ranked OG ahead of CG was because the judges felt that to the extent where you come up with a different characterization from CG, and then you are in a way towing the line of your OG, then we felt this was actually problematic. And to the extent where you also, okay, and to the extent where you also, a debate that had actually started off with several clashes, and then you come up to give an entirely different one, then we felt this was problematic. But then certain things we actually credited to CG was the fact about where they talk about individual autonomy. But then the basic clash that had started on the debate and was sustained to the end was on the issue of the outcome, and not the fact about natural birth and then artificial insemination. This was not a clash in the debate that had already existed, and we felt to the extent where CG brings this up, and it doesn't really fall. Okay, we did not prioritize this in terms of the arguments that the judges actually prioritized. Now, why we ranked OG ahead of CG, as I said, was because of they brought, although the judges felt that their characterization was a bit weak, which was why their opposition ranked ahead of them, when they talk about how if these babies might not die. But then to the extent where the debate actually talks about how these babies would actually be produced through artificial insemination and their stem cells would be removed. But then we felt, which on the opening we ranked your opposition ahead of the government, when they talk about how they run two lines, how even if these babies do not die, it is still not morally right, and how if these babies die, it is still not right for the government to actually take this decision. That was why we ranked them ahead of you. But then why we still ranked you ahead of them was because of the social impact theory you bring to the House, where you talk about how it's the government's obligation to actually help find cures to diseases, how government should be able to actually a kind of protect its individuals, and if it sees a problem wrong with the citizens of the country, it should be able to actually find the solution. So we felt this was better prioritized in terms of right of government and the obligation of the government, as against what your closing comes to give us about the autonomy of individuals. Now, why we ranked CO ahead of you guys, as we said before, when we ranked the opposition team ahead of you guys, is because of the faulty characterization you give us and how this premised your case and how your case became a bit more of a contextualization problem, about where you start to talk about how these babies' cells and these babies do not die, and then how these individuals, to the extent where these babies do not die, then it's not a problem to do these things. So we felt that characterization was faulty, and that was why the opposition team ranked ahead of you. Now, when we ranked OO ahead of CO was because the major argument we get from the opposition team was one that has to do with the morality and has to do with the responsibility of the government to its people. So does the government prioritize individuals and then takes babies' lives? Or then do we prioritize all kinds of individuals no matter their status? Do we prioritize orphans? Do we prioritize individuals that actually have parents? So who exactly do we prioritize for? And we felt this argument was one better from the opening opposition, where they talk about how no matter what status this individual actually has, then the individual has a right to life. And then we felt this line was also told from the closing, but we ranked them ahead of you guys because we actually credited this to them. And then also on the issue of morality in society and how the society does not take out the fact that these babies are just being born and then they have parents and then decide to actually take the rights to life. We actually felt this also was a better argument from opening opposition. But while we ranked CO ahead, which we CO second, and a very good argument we got from CO was on the part of capitalism, which had already started up a premise from the opening opposition. But then we felt it was better analyzed, and we actually gave credit to you when you talk about how, because these individuals now have money, doesn't mean they cannot come to start taking the lives of babies. So because you feel that you have money, you can quickly go into organ banks and then you take stem cells from babies and then produce organs. And then we felt this was a very good argument on your part, and this was what we credited to you. So ultimately, I hope we've been able to see the basic arguments that we prioritize, the issues that we felt were the major clashes in the debate, and how we ranked the teams ahead of the others. Please, if you have anything you feel you want to say to the judges, anything you feel we should improve on, if you have any questions, please feel free to meet either I or any other judge that was in the room. Thank you very much.